Brought to you in part by Monadnock Flooring and Decorating, offering quality sales, service, and installation for over 35 years on Production Avenue next to Subaru of Keene. Hey everybody, welcome to A Culinary Journey. I'm Luca Paris. Unlike some of my other shows where I just start talking first, I needed to start cooking first. I am going to be making flavors from my family's places in Italy. So today we're going to be doing Umbria. Umbria is in central Italy, and that's where my father's from, and that's where I grew up spending some summers over there and had a great time. My grandmother was one of the best cooks I ever met. My aunt, my zia, she was also amazing. And a lot of these dishes today are reminiscent of dishes that I've had some idea of when I was younger. Now I had to kind of take some liberties because my memory says one thing, and probably what they've done is a little bit different. They're not all around to show me anymore. But I've taken some Umbrian classic dishes today. An angry chicken. We're going to do a little bit of spicy chicken thighs. Again, one of my favorites. We're going to do a Garganelli pasta, or a fresh penne pasta with egg yolk right at the last second. And then we're going to do a Tortino. A Tortino is like a frittata or like an omelet with a little flour. You're going to see the difference that this makes with some stewed onions. I'm cutting the stewed onions now. When we get back, we start cooking. Your culinary journey starts now. Hey everybody, welcome back. I think when you left me I was cutting onions. I'm still cutting more. Need a lot of onions for this dish. Umbria is the place we're traveling to on our culinary journey. And Umbria is the place where my father was born. It was central Italy. The biggest city in Umbria is Perugia. If you've heard of Perugina chocolates, cool stuff. And it's all about classic flavors. We like to call it the poor man's Tuscany. It's not where everybody travels to get all the great flavors of Tuscany or central Italy, but it definitely has its unique presence and feel. And growing up, going to visit there, I got a unique aspect on Italian cooking. Simple ingredients, real quick flavors put together, a little stewing going on, and then kind of finishes that you don't normally find with some food. So here we go. We're going to start it off right away. Our chicken today, or our chicken, usually using a whole chicken on this dish, is called Donatella's Angry Chicken. A town not far from where my father grew up is Spoleto, Italy. And that's thought to be the birthplace of this fiery or spicy chicken dish with fresh, or in this case I'm using really good plum tomatoes from a can, some hot peppers and rosemary, and big pieces of garlic, a good amount of onions. We're also doing a cipollata, which is actually a version of onion soup, but with just tomatoes and onions, okay? And we're going to put that over an egg dish later on in the show. So that's what we have to get cooking now, because we've got to do a little bit of braising. Finish that with some pasta and egg dish. I'm going crazy. It's like a brunch at my grandmother's house when I was growing up. And you're going to absolutely love this. So I got my oil heating up. I'm going to put in my garlic. And then, again, you'll see that with certain parts of Italian cooking, it's not about the garlic being all chopped up and fine. It's about the garlic being whole and adding flavor to what you're doing. So we're just going to pop it in there, just like this, and get that garlic in to add flavor to that oil. We're going to let it get a little bit brown on medium-high heat, and we're going to add some hot pepper to our oil too, because we want that pepper to really take over this dish a little bit. All right, let's open up. Hey, you know what? When you get a new container here, rosemary, you should open it. There we go. All right, we have some dry rosemary. When I'm using drier herbs, again with a stew dish, using a dry herb, it's great to use it early on in the process, because when using it early on, you're opening up those flavors, and this is really starting to get already aromatic and flavorful. Then we're going to get some onions in there, and we're going to add some salt and pepper to that. Again, when I tell you simple, the dishes in Umbria are really simple, where they're just cooking down flavors and letting the great ingredients take over. So always buy the best ingredients. All right, So let's incorporate that all together. Wow, that pepper's really popping. It's going to be delicious in this dish. Now, this is usually done, and I remember onions and tomatoes being done with chicken around my grandmother's house, but using whole chickens. I mean, they wouldn't let anything go to waste, so use the whole chickens. You all know my favorite, it's that chicken thigh. It says, got everything I need in the chickens, right on the chicken thigh, and we're going to be doing it with that. In the other pot, I'm going to start my chipolata. And there's really nothing to do here except stew down onions and tomatoes. When you make a chipolata, a lot of it goes on almost anything you can do. I tell you, it's great on hot dogs. It's great on hamburgers. We're going to be doing it on eggs. So it was our form of almost like a ketchup, on a condiment on everything we did. So we're going to get onions in there. Let those start stewing. Well, let's get all our onions used up. And really, this is all you do. Salt, pepper, onions. Right? And then about a cup of tomatoes. We're going to let that finish in there. It's not much different than what we're doing for our chicken, but when we come back to this little onion mix is going, wow, those peppers are delicious. Coming right at me. All right, pepper facial. All right, we're going to leave this alone, and that is going to be our condiment you're going to absolutely love. So, as our onions are cooking down, this is where we're going to add our chicken in here. And here, all again, is season your chicken. We keep the skin on. This is skin on, bone with the bone, chicken thighs. Let's see, where did my, here we go. We'll get a fork. Get this chicken in there. Come on, buddy. You know you want to get in there. We'll put it skin side down so it gets cooking. All right, look at that. That's absolutely beautiful. We'll get them right on the onions too, because we're going to stew the side of that chicken too. And when I say we have to let it sit for a while, stew process probably takes about 45 minutes, a little bit more, where you want to get the chicken cooked all the way through. We're going to add some wine to this. Hold on a second. I'm going to go right in here and get me some white wine. And look at that. Get some white wine in there. Now it's spicy, it's winey, it's got all these great flavors. And we're going to top it off with a little bit of tomato. All right, so we have all our ingredients in place for a beautiful stewed chicken dish that's going to cook down for us in the next 35 to 45 minutes. We have our chipolata working. When we come back, we have to make our other two parts of our dish. We're going to do a pasta dish with Garganelli, our fresh pasta, and some egg yolk right at the last minute, and some nutmeg and lemon. This great flavors you're going to absolutely love. And then we're going to make the tortina, or tortino, with the stewed onions over the top of it. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back to A Culinary Journey as we travel through Umbria. Umbria is central Italy, and my father likes to tell me it's the center of the world, right? Where his little town's Colle San Lorenzo. And we had everything from snails, lumache, to porchetta, pork on a big spit, they're kind of roasted. He now lives in Puerto Rico, and now that's the center of the world. I wonder who's a little egocentric, him or me? No, me. Anyway, what we're going to do is do a pasta dish that comes from there that has a lot less cooking involved than you would think. And I'm going to make a couple of variations on it because it's something I'm sure my dad would really love to do. We have some water boiling. I got some Garganelli pasta in the freezer. It's a fresh pasta that I import from Italy, and you can make your own too if you want to. But here's what we're going to do. Just going to put a little bit of oil in the bottom of this pan. And the only thing we're really cooking down is the pancetta to render it. Pancetta is basically an Italian bacon that's cured and not smoked. And the more the merrier. That's what I say. This is, in some ways, it resembles a dish that they have in Italy that has an egg drop into it, basically. Carbonara. It's a lemon dish with bacon and lemon and eggs and cheese. Very similar. And what you'll find is that a lot of these dishes are similar throughout their different regions with a little twist on them. So that's kind of what we're doing. So if you've seen this before, probably you've seen it as a carbonara. So I'm going to render down the bacon. Now, in one of the recipes I remember doing or seeing was the use of Italian sausage, fresh sausage. You take it out of the casing and you add the sausage meat. I love something that they have in his town, which is a cacciatorino, or a white wine and garlic dry sausage. And closest thing I find around here is a sopressata. So we're going to add that in with our pancetta as that cooks. Now this is really quick, because while we're doing that, we're going to be doing this next step. A little bit of salt in 1 egg that's been beaten, some pepper, and some cream. Just going to get those flavors in there. All right? So we got all that in there. Then we're going to add some juice of a lemon, but first a little bit of the lemon zest. Keep an eye on this so it doesn't burn. Now, no garlic, no onions, nothing else except for the flavors that we have here. Again, one of the things about the cuisine that you find in Umbria, it's really simple. And whereas you'll find up in the north, you'll find a ton of butter and flavors like that, and a little more complicated, a little more francophiled or French feel to it, right? And then down south, you'll find a lot more spice, because even though you'll find some spicy dishes in Central Italy, down south they had to use it as a preservative also, and more pickling, more agrodolce, sweet and spicy, or sweet and savory. All right, so we got that. We got the lemon zest. We'll put in some juice in a minute, but before we do that, we're going to grate in some fresh nutmeg. And one of the things about nutmeg, when you grate it, make sure it's fresh. You're just going to put that in. It's going to have a ton of flavor. And then we'll juice this lemon real quick. We'll get that in there. And then we have our basic ingredients that are going to go with this pasta. All right. And when I say simple, I mean simple. Because next thing we have, let's go over really quick what we have. We have our condiment, our Italian Umbrian ketchup, I like to say, onion cipollata. And back here we have our angry chicken popping away. Let's turn that down just even a little bit more. And then let's go get our pasta out of our freezer. Yay, we have it right here. Cool. Look at that. I just happen to have it in little 1-pound bags that I like to keep my pasta in if I need to use it. Now it's a frozen fresh pasta. So what I do with this, and I'll show you what Garganelli looks like real quick. See, I'll put some right on here if you get to see what it looks like. But Garganelli pasta is basically penne, and penne that are rolled, hand rolled, to get the penne looking shape. So you'll see that a little more once we bring that into here. So this is how quick this dish goes. Now, one of the things that's important when you are making this dish is mixing it up quickly, so that way the egg continues cooking but doesn't overcook. We have our pancetta and our sopressata. I'm going to turn that off. We're going to make sure that's cooking, and I'm going to get my bowl of pasta. My bowl for my pasta. There you go. This is something you want to serve right away when you're doing it. We get our Garganelli out of our boiling water, which, because it's a fresh pasta, even though it's frozen, it just needs to finish off a little bit. Get it in there. And you could use any type of pasta you like. A fresh penne, or not even a fresh pasta, a dry pasta. Just boil the pasta first. And we're going to coat the fat. And a lot of the recipes will tell you to get rid of the rendered fat off the pancetta and the sopressata or the sausage. Please don't. It's so good. It's so flavorful. And we're going to season that a little bit with a little bit of salt and let that cook. Now, we're going to transfer that to a bowl. And here's where the magic happens. We're going to stir in our lemon and egg mixture very quickly, because it's actually going to cook the lemon and the eggs, or the egg mixture, onto the coating of the pasta. And when I say a quick pasta dish, I'm not kidding. This has a ton of flavor, has a great feel to it. Now watch, we'll start seeing the egg just kind of coat itself against the pasta a little bit. Let it just get onto it. And then we're going to finish that off with a little cheese. Pecorino Romano is a big cheese that you find in that area of the world, instead of Parmigiano cheese or Parmesan cheese like we're used to getting for when we think about pastas. Pecorino it's made from a goat's milk, and it just has, or sheep's milk, and it just has that little bite to it. Now what I'm using is ricotta salata. It's a salty ricotta cheese, and it just has a ton of flavor, and I love this on simple or even spicy dishes. So we have here our pasta dish that is coated with a fresh egg that gets cooked around the pasta. And look how simple this is. This is beautiful. Pasta for me. Ta-da! Straight from Umbria, some nice Garganelli. You finish it off with a little more cracked black pepper. And you can't go wrong. You can't get wrong. You can't go wrong. And that's our second to last dish. Now, when we come back, we bring everything in with this. This is our first course. We're making something for our breakfast in Umbria, and we're also doing our main course, which is the angry chicken. Don't go away. When we come back, we're making tortino with a chipolata on top. You're going to have a lot of fun with that one. See you in a minute. Hey everybody, welcome back to A Culinary Journey. Listen, we're traveling through Umbria and we have a lot of things going on, so we're kind of just wrapping it all up with a great way to wake up on a Sunday morning in Umbria, which is with a tortino, which is basically using cicoria or any type of wild dandelion greens. You could use a curly endive. In this case, we're using Swiss chard. Now, a lot of times they'll tell you to take off the stems, right? And I love the stems as a part too. They're great for cooking. Use those for different things as well as a great, almost celery-like consistency for a salad. Comes out excellent. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to braise off a little bit of Swiss chard. Then we're going to make our frittata with a little flour in it. So it's really kind of interesting. So let's do this. We have our egg mixture right here. We're going to have some flour, salt, nutmeg. Those are some ingredients you'll find. I like to put a little lemon juice on my greens that I'm going to braise. It's always really good to braise your greens? Braise your greens. You try and say that 3 times fast. Braise your greens in advance so they're cooled off a little bit. Even the day before is great because then you're able to hold them. And we're going to take our garlic. We're going to crack it whole. Again, remember, in Umbria, garlic isn't supposed to be a main flavor. Actually, my dad's always told me that it should almost be like ghost garlic, where you get the flavor, but you don't know why it's there. And hello? That's what I'm doing right now. Now, the thing I do different than he does when he likes to cook is that I like to let the garlic get a little bit browner. And then what I do with it is I leave it in there. And there's this like, boom, you bite into this roasted garlic. That's phenomenal. I kind of like that part. We're going to salt our oil right there. Now, the greens, again, like I said, endive, Swiss chard. Just braising these type of greens are great for something you do at home. For a side dish to steak, even though some people wouldn't want their greens with steak, but that's okay. I like them that way. Let's go back here while that garlic is browning up really nicely. Talk about our angry chicken, Donatella's angry chicken here, arrabbiato, or someone called them angry birds. Yeah, this is what happens to the angry birds that don't get the pigs. There you go. We have a little bit of spice in there. We have our stewed tomatoes, and then the chicken thighs are delicious. And then there was that pasta dish with the sopressata and the pancetta. That's absolutely a wonderful dish. So I think you're going to love both of those if you try them. Okay, let's go back over. Check out how our garlic is doing. Look at that. Perfect timing because it's getting nice and brown. And then we're going to braise down our greens. We're going to get them in there. And they're going to cook down like spinach would. Now, if you wanted something that was simple, this is all I'm going to do. Watch. I'm going to put them in there. I'm going to shut off the heat. And I'll start cleaning up around them. And by the time they start getting, as soon as they hit the heat, they're going to start wilting down very quickly. And this big grouping of Swiss chard that I had today will cook down nice and light and be finished in no time. Again, great as a dish to serve. A little more on the bitter side. That's what cicoria or chicory would be too. Endive, you'll have a little bit of bitterness to it. But it's great to be served with something that might be even a little bit sweeter, like a creamy sauce, a port wine cream sauce with your steak. It'll go wonderful. So let's, maybe I shut it down too early because I want to get down a little bit further and then cook that all the way down. Now, what we are going to make here, and here's the important part here. We're going to make a frittata. But unlike frittatas you might be used to, we add a little bit of flour to it. So it kind of creates a little crust for us. Look at that. Look how fast that came down. See that? That's pretty incredible. All right, I'm going to transfer that to a plate so it cools off just a little bit. And when you travel to different parts of the world and you get to try their different flavors, it's amazing how especially in a country like Italy, how you go 20 miles, 25 miles, and they differ so completely, or they call something something else and it's almost the same. I mean, you get that on both ends of the spectrum. Absolutely incredible food. You got to try it all from all the areas. And I get that just with my family from northern Italy, because, let's see, we'll go back on this burner in the back here. Oh, there you go. We got my family in northern Italy makes a lot of the same dishes that my family in central Italy makes. And you'll find that, I'm like, wait, whose is better? I tell them that theirs is better, whoever I'm eating there with. So that's what you're going to end up doing too when you go over there. So let's go. Let's get some oil in the pan. We have our stewed tomatoes that need to go on our tortino. And we have our ingredients to get ready for our frittata or tortino. So we have about 6 eggs in here. We're going to add a little bit of salt. We're going to add some flour to this. It's about 2 tablespoons of flour. We'll mix that in. Again, just like you're making we got to make sure this doesn't get too hot. So we really got to watch what we're doing here. And make sure we incorporate all our flour, because that's going to be a big important part of this dish. I get some salt, a little bit more, and then a little bit of fresh nutmeg. There you go, and we're good to go. All right, now we're going to take our beet greens, or in this case, our Swiss chard, get them right into our egg, mix them up, and get them quick, because if we're doing them from this temperature where they're a little bit hot, they're going to start cooking the egg, and then get them into our pan right when we know the egg's going to kind of sizzle. There it is. All right, and we start moving that around. Now, like any given frittata, we want to make sure it starts moving in the pan. If you have a nonstick pan, you have to have a good amount of fat in the pan. And we're going to just kind of let the frittata or the tortina just kind of create a little shell. Now, here's where we turn down the heat a little bit, because we want the center of it to be cooked all the way through, right? So I kind of like move it around just a touch, so I get some of the loose egg to go underneath. But you can kind of this is where your patience comes in. You have to have a good amount of patience on this one, because once you get this, you're going to be the happiest person in the world. Let's go. All right. So we got all those flavors there. Let me go get a clean plate, because I can't wait to show you what this looks like. All right. So if I move it, it starts to move around, but it's still a little bit loose, right? Let's get our sauce ready too. Let's check that out real quick at the same time. Get a capture of that. This is our condiment for everything. Stewed onions, basically. Tomatoes, salt, pepper, extra virgin olive oil, nothing else. It's going to go right on top of our tortino. Now, I have, oh, look, it's almost set. Wait for that middle part to get set. Kind of check it out in the middle, maybe break it up, get some of that in there. You got the Swiss chard all the way around. All right, let's take a peek. Ooh, very pretty, very pretty. You're going to be excited. And now we need to set the top part of our tortilla, and that's where we go into the oven on broil with a pan that we kind of leave it halfway open. So I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to put the pan in there, and I'm going to leave the oven a little bit open, where the broiler is kind of doing the work from the top down. I'm not going to try and flip this tortilla. There's no way I could do it. I'm going to let it cook from the top down. So when we are in our travels of Umbria, and we have our nutmeg, and we have our good salt and our great flavors, you can't go wrong all the way around. A little lemon. Ooh, how about that? Angry Birds with lemon. There you go. Angry Birds. I think that's what I'm going to call it all the time from now on. All right, let's check this bad boy out. Ooh, starting to get a nice little shell. Now, I will mention, please use a towel the whole time you put your hand in here, because your pan will get hot. And make sure you're using a pan. I'm going to bring it up, show you a little bit more. You see how the crust is starting to form on the top too? Oh, we just got a little bit more. We've got to go back in there and finish that up. So about another 2 minutes right in there. All right. Do we have any other garnishes we want to do for that? No, you just got to wait with me. This is when I have a guest, I would be talking to them. We're almost there. All right. Ooh, look at that. Let's get this off the plate right now and show you our tortilla. Look at that. It's like a love pizza from Italy. with a lot of egg in it. All right, cut a little slice there. Gonna bring it right over. Now, this is the piece de resistance. This is the part that I used to love about the tortino, is the stewed tomatoes over the top. Look at that. Voila! Our journey is complete. I am exhausted and hungry all at the same time. What a great life I have. We have some angry chicken or angry birds. We have a great pasta dish with lemon, nutmeg, and eggs. And then the tortino with the Swiss chard and my chipolata over the top. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time on A Culinary Journey. Brought to you in part by Monadnock Flooring and Decorating, offering quality sales, service, and installation for over 35 years on Production Avenue next to Subaru of Keene.